Okay, everyone, we have reached the 6 o'clock hour. We're going to start this off and get things going. So welcome to Pioneer and PG&E's we're hosting and PG&E's presenting on time of use. And what we've got going with this, it'll be a slide presentation. It'll be featuring Jessica Chancellor from PG&E. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Jessica. She is quite the guru on time of use. If there's a question needs to be answered, she's got the answers. In terms of the presentation, we're going to let Jessica go through the whole presentation, and then we're going to open it up for questions and answers. The verbal questions we'll take at the end. We will be tracking the open Q&As. So for those of you who are kind of new to Zoom, at the bottom of the page, and if Mark, if you wouldn't mind kind of showing where the Q&A is, put it on the cursor. With that, you can enter a question into the question and answer, and we will provide those to Jessica at the end so she can answer them as we go. Some we may answer as we go along, especially if they're related to Pioneer, and maybe repeat at the end to make sure anyone who was in the who might not have heard it or seen it knows what the question was. So we'll kind of go from there. So with that, sit back, and Jessica, we're going to let you take it away.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for having me, and for all of you that are attending the webinar this evening. Thank you in advance for your time. I hope that the information shared today will provide some sort of value to either yourself, a friend, or family member, because there's going to be a lot of information that I'm going to share with you today that can hopefully help you to understand what your options are as it relates to electric rate plans, as well as ways that you might be able to save on your bill. I know that that's kind of a hot topic and something that is of interest to pretty much everyone. So I'll take you through some of those tips this evening, and I welcome questions that you may have along the way and at the end as well. Also note that this slide deck is available for sharing. So there will be, if there's a follow-up email to come out after the webinar, we're able to share the deck with you. But as Alexia has pointed out, this will also be shared through different channels like social media and maybe on their website for future viewing as well. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so the four main points that I'm going to share with you this evening is one in regards to rate options. I'm going to explain the different types of electric rate plans that we have available. If you are a PG&E and a Pioneer customer, you have the same rate plan options. So everything that PG&E is presenting this evening, these are rate plan options that as a Pioneer customer, you have the ability to choose as well. So I'm going to show you just how to determine what is the best rate plan for you personally and your household. Number two, I want to talk a bit about communication preferences. We do send information in English primarily, but we do have a lot of other options available for customers. So if you have a different preference, I will share a bit more about that with you and how you would go about selecting what preference you would like. Assistance programs is also a topic this evening. These would be different types of programs that could help you to reduce your bill and provide you additional benefits if you are eligible and qualify. And I'll tell you more about how you might be able to enroll in those and what they can do for you. And then lastly, we're going to talk a bit about the time of use transition. This is a statewide transition to time of use. It's not PG&E specifically. This is mandated across the state by the California Public Utility Commission. And I'll explain what's happening with that, the timing, and what your options are in regards to that. Okay, next slide. Okay, so for electric rate plans, you do have options. So if you leave here with anything today, know that that is something that you can choose for your house. and what best suits your family. We do have really 3 different types of electric rate plans. One, you have a time of use rate plan, and just as it sounds, you are charged for your energy based on not just how much you use, but also when you use your energy. So there are times of the day that offer you a lower price for your electric usage, and there are times of the day that charge a higher price. So there's a couple of time of use rate plans available for you to choose from if you think that might work best for your family. Secondly, there is a rate plan that's called a tiered rate plan. We also refer to this as E1. That's the short abbreviated version for it. And with that rate plan, simply just matters how much energy you use. The more energy you use, the more money you're going to pay on this rate plan. It doesn't matter what time of day you use energy, however, you can use it at any time of day or night, and it's going to be the same until you reach a certain threshold of usage. Once you use beyond a threshold, then your price is going to go up. And again, as you continue to use energy, as you surpass the different thresholds, your price continues to go up. So the only way to save money on this rate plan is literally just to reduce your usage. Using a limited amount of energy would keep your rate plan or your energy costs lower. And then lastly, here is the electric vehicle rate plans. And just as that sounds, it's designed for customers who have either an electric vehicle and or battery storage. So if you have solar at your home and you have a battery storage option for that extra energy that you're producing, this could be a good rate plan for you. In regards to time of use, you just should be noted that in order to save money on this rate plan, you want to try to use energy outside of those peak windows. This rate plan, or these couple rate plans available for you, provide the customer the most control over their energy costs. Because if you can limit how much energy you're using in the peak time, then you are going to be receiving the lowest rate cost, and you'll be able to have a lower bill that way. Now, to get more information about these specific rate plans, you could go to pge.com/rate choices, and you can run a specific personalized rate plan comparison. And when I say personalized, I mean that it literally is based on how you have already been using your energy at your specific residence. So I'm going to walk you through some easy steps on how to figure that out. Because to be honest, electric rates are super complex, and nobody expects you to be an expert when it comes to rate plans. And it's not a one-size-fits-all approach either. What you use for energy may be entirely different than what your neighbor uses for energy. And the time of day that you use energy could be different as well. And so for that reason, these rate plan options are available to help meet the needs of the different households, the sizes, as well as the square footage and the basic energy needs of each customer. Now let's take a look at how you might go about running this rate comparison. I'm going to walk you through literally 4 easy steps to figure out what is the best rate plan for you based on how you've already been using your energy. So in order to do this, you simply need to go online to pge.com. Rate plans is one way, or you can just go to pge.com and you will see on there an option to sign in to an online account. You do need to have a smart meter, and most customers do. So if you're not sure if you do or not, don't worry. Simply go online, and as long as you have at least 6 months of energy usage at your residence, more than likely a personalized rate comparison can be completed for you. So let's go to the first step. Next slide, okay. So pge.com, that's your starting point. And I welcome you to do this with me this evening if you would like. Also, I would recommend that you encourage friends and family to do this, because if you can save money just by changing your rate plan, why not? I mean, you could, I've heard of customers saving hundreds of dollars and thousands over an annual period just by changing their rate plan. It's not like that for everyone, but why not save money if you can, right? Simply by changing your rate plan. So walk through with me going to pge.com. And when you get there, you're going to see a sign-in box. It's presented there on the kind of the left-hand side of the screen currently. Okay, next slide. And here it's highlighted for you. You will want to sign in. So if you have already registered an account online, this will be pretty easy for you. You'll do your username and password and then enter it. But don't worry, if you have not registered an account, I'm going to show you another way to get online as well. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, so signing in as a visitor, you can also complete a rate comparison still based on your energy usage at your specific residence. You simply click on the bottom right-hand area of that registration box that says visitor, and it's highlighted in red there for you. Okay, next slide. Now, in order to sign in as a visitor, you do need to have a few key pieces of information so that we can confirm that you, in fact, are the customer of record at the residence that you're trying to run a rate plan comparison for. Probably the easiest one is to put in your last name, the zip code of your service address, and the last four of your social security number. Because most people have that information off the top of their head. But if you don't feel comfortable entering that information, you can find the other information on your utility bill, which would be your 11-digit account number. You then also need to provide your last four of your social and the meter number. So those pieces of information, with the exception of your social security, obviously, can be found on your utility bill. So now go ahead and let's take a look at the next slide. Okay, so this is what it looks like as soon as you've signed in. We refer to this as a dashboard, which is the front page of signing into your PG&E account. Now, over to the right-hand side, you're going to see a few pieces of information. One is it's going to tell you what rate plan you are currently on. And in this case, this customer is on the tiered rate plan, also known as E1. Again, this is the rate plan that the more you use, the more you're going to pay. The only way to manage your energy costs
Hey, Jessica, I
on
apologize.
this energy comparison. Yeah.
We just lost you for a second there, so I'm not sure if how you, could you repeat that last section just for a second on the tiered rate plan?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for interrupting there. Now on the tiered rate plan, it's called E1. And again, just as you use energy, the more you use, the more that you will pay. Now, if you want to if your bill, the only way to manage your energy costs on this rate plan is to just use less energy. Now if we want to take a look at what our rate plan options are for our specific residence and see what's the best one for us, then we click on manage your rate plan. And that's highlighted there in red, in like a red box for you. And it's immediately underneath what is described as your current rate plan. Okay. Now, next slide. Now that was it. we just ran a rate comparison. So congratulations, you now can see the annual costs for your specific residence and how you have been using energy for the past year or a little bit less time, depending on how long you've been at this residence. And what you're seeing here is that in the top left-hand box, it says you are currently enrolled in this rate plan. And you can see there's like a little green check mark over the radial button. And it shows that the annual cost for this customer is $860 on E1. Now over to the right, and the other two bottom boxes indicate what this customer's other rate plan options are. So you can see here over to the right, there is a time of use rate plan. It's called peak pricing, 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. everyday rate plan, also known as ETOUC. That's the short version because that's a mouthful, as you can tell. But it is a descriptive name. So just as it sounds, the peak pricing time is 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. every day. And then immediately below to the left is another time of use rate plan, which is peak pricing 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. on the weekdays. And that one is called ETOUD. And then over to the right is home charging, which is an electric vehicle rate plan that also has battery storage options. So in those cases, you could see here, the customer's annual costs are pretty similar, but why not change to a rate plan that you know can save you $10 already based on what you've been doing in terms of your energy usage without changing anything other than just signing up for a different rate plan. So let's see what the process is to do that. Next slide. Okay, so you see here, this customer, again, can save $10 by just choosing a different rate plan. And so if we want to select a different rate plan, we just click on the button in the top left-hand corner of that rate plan. And in this case, it's time of use peak pricing 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. every day, ETOUC. And then at the bottom, we will click next. And you can see that's highlighted there in red for you as well. And next slide. Okay, now this is what it looks like when you have completed your rate change. So it was that easy. You could do this literally in like 1 to 2 minutes, if that. Unless you want to like really do some research before you make this decision. This is still pretty easy, even if you do some research. What you're going to see here is that in this case, we've just successfully completed a rate change, and it says that there for you. And then that box immediately below with some information indicates what is the customer's effective date for this rate plan change, because you want to know when should you start. In this case, the customer's on a time of use rate plan. When should we start limiting our usage during the peak hours? So this indicates that it's a little small for me, but I think it says January of 2021 or something along those lines. It would be bigger for you on your own computer screen. And the good news is that you're not just allowed to change rate plans one time. If you decide you don't like a rate plan and you want to change it to a different one, you are at least entitled to 1 per year, but we are currently honoring 2 per year at this time. So there is opportunity for you to change rate plans if you decide you don't like the one that you're currently on. And it looks like there may be a question in the chat. So what if you are on a master meter mobile home park, no smart meter? How do they tell time of use for individual units within the park? Now that would be dependent on your landlord or the mobile home park manager. So usually what happens in this scenario is that the mobile home park manager would have sub meters. and they would have those on each of the residences. Otherwise, it is a community usage on one master meter, and then the landlord or park manager determines how that's divvied up, and that's usually in your rental agreement or contract. But in most cases, there is a sub meter at each of the locations so that it's indicated for the park manager how each customer should be getting charged. Another question is what happens if you are, I believe the question is asking if the customer's not on a smart meter. Most customers are, but if you would like to have a smart meter and you're not on one, you can call our contact center, and the number's on the bill. But I can also put it in the chat in a bit here. It's 1-800-743-5000. And you can ask for a smart meter to be installed. Now, we do also have meters that have the capability that are programmed to be able to detect, without it being a smart meter, when a customer is using energy. But the difference between a smart meter and one of these programmed meters is that a person has to come out to the residence manually and read the meter there. They hook up a device to the meter to determine what the reads are. With a smart meter, we can get that information remotely. So it's more consistent. There's regular billing more often, whereas reading meters at a property can, for various reasons, can cause delayed billing. Okay. So there is a lot of questions coming through. This is awesome. I'm so glad to see all the questions.
Hey, Jessica, do you want to go through and finish your presentation, and then we can go through each question? And that way anyone who joins late can have the benefit of hearing them.
Yeah, it does look like they're pretty related to the content right now, but okay. We can, it looks like a lot of it is somewhat like one-off scenarios too. So we can come back to those towards the end of the presentation.
Okay.
Now let's go to the next slide. Okay, so earlier I told you that there are contact information or communication preferences available for customers. You can go online to update your communication preferences so that we can ensure that you're getting the information and the way that you want to receive it. One is either maybe you want to be on e-bill, which means that you're going to have your regular monthly utility bill emailed to you. So that's an option. We do also have multiple languages that the bills are provided in. And you can go online or give us a call at 1-800-743-5000 to update that information. Now, not only is it important to have your communication preferences updated so that you're getting the information the way that you want to receive it, but oftentimes there's a lot of important information and safety messages that need to be shared with customers. And in order to ensure that we're getting you the information timely, we want to make sure we have the most up-to-date contact information. So please be sure to make sure that your information is updated regularly or anytime there is a change. Next slide. Okay, so regarding assistance programs, we have multiple different programs that can help customers to save money on their energy bills. And these programs are available to Pioneer customers as well. You can go online to pge.com/care-FARA to get information about limited income programs. Now, what CARE and FARA do is if you meet the income requirements, they give you a discount on your energy bill so that it is less for you to pay monthly. CARE provides a gas and electric discount, and FARA provides an electric only discount. Now, the difference is that CARE has a more limited income requirement. FARA stands for Family Electric Rate Assistance. It is for families, which means anyone that has an account with 3 or more people residing in the home. That provides a larger discount, or excuse me, a larger income allotment, but not as substantial of a discount. It's 18% off on your electric bill for FARA. Whereas CARE, again, it's a little bit more limited. That gives you a 20% discount on gas and about 35 or so percent approximately off of your electricity. So you can apply for one or the other, and we will enroll you in CARE if you qualify for it. And if you don't qualify for that, then we'll get you enrolled in FARA so that you can get the benefits of that. Next slide. Okay, there's also an energy savings assistance program for limited income customers. And the great thing about this program is that it helps to make your home more energy efficient. So then in turn, you use less energy and then your bill is lower. You do have to be limited income to receive the benefits of this. The great news is you do not have to own your home to get the benefits. You do have to have permission of the owner to have the benefits applied to the home that is being serviced. So if you're renting a home and there is opportunity to make the home more energy efficient, if you get the owner's permission, then the Energy Savings Assistance Program can add those benefits to the home, whether it's, weather stripping, caulking. Sometimes it's more energy efficient appliances of different nature, like heating and air conditioning, stuff like that. So it's to help those who have less efficient homes to make them more energy efficient and use ultimately less power. And then we have medical baseline. Now, the medical baseline program is designed to give customers who have some kind of medical need more energy or gas for a medical condition. So if a customer has maybe a sleep apnea machine, it's pretty common, or they might need oxygen. In those two scenarios, those are both qualifying medical conditions that would allow a customer to get more usage at a lower rate, and then in turn, their bill would be lower. Similarly, if a customer has maybe arthritis and they have a gas operated heater, they could apply for medical baseline and they would get more usage at a lower rate for their gas service. And that would help them to keep their bill lower while still allowing them to have the needs of gas or electricity for their medical condition. You do need to have a doctor sign off or certify that someone in the home has a medical condition. And then you send it back into PG&E. You can get an application at pge.com/medical baseline. You can also have one mailed out to you if you call our contact center. And there you would be able to follow through with having the doctor sign off, send it back, and we would start to give you more usage at a lower rate. Now, good news is that you can have the medical baseline program on your account, and you can also have the limited income program on your account. So you could be getting medical baseline, energy savings assistance, and care. You could get all three of those benefits. So it's not just one or the other, is all I'm trying to say here, is that there are multiple things that could potentially provide you assistance and either lowering your bill or helping you to make your home more energy efficient. Another positive for the medical baseline program is that you do receive additional notifications whenever there is a public safety power shutoff. There is additional notifications that require confirmation of the customer. So we ensure that you are aware as early as possible that there is a shut off coming so that you can more appropriately prepare as well. Next slide. Okay, so for time of use transition, we're going to move into this topic now. There is, as I said before, a statewide effort. Really, it's a mandation that all of the investor-owned utilities, which would be PG&E, San Diego Gas and Electric, Southern California Edison, these three investor-owned utilities that provide electric service are mandated by the California Public Utility Commission to move customers who are on a tiered rate plan, which is the E1 rate plan. Remember, that's the more you use, the more you pay, to the time of use peak pricing, 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. everyday rate plan. Now, this transition is coming to an end. We have been transitioning customers across the territory as early as October of 2020. And we are continuing through the end of next month. This is, as I said, the very end. So what's important here is that when customers are moved to the time of use transition, they need to consider not just how much energy they're using, but also what time of day they're using it. And there is a graphic on the screen here for you to indicate how it works structurally. So for this specific time of use rate plan, the hours of 4 p.m. to 9 p.m., those are the highest price hours. So you want to try to conserve during those hours if you can. And then the other 19 hours of each day, you're getting the lowest cost for your energy usage. Now, probably the most common question or comment I receive when talking about time of use rate plans and the peak pricing time being, in the evenings, 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. is that customers typically say, well, I just got home from work around that time, or I get home from work around 5 and my family's home and we're cooking dinner and we're hanging out, watching TV or doing laundry, stuff like that. Like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to just shut off my breaker, not use any power during that time? And no, that's not the case. With a time of use rate plan, you are not limited to how much energy you use. You can use as much as you want, but it does incentivize customers to use less during these peak windows so that they can get the lower price if they can shift some of their usage during the off-peak time. So know that you don't have to have a candle at dinner unless you choose to. If you want to shift some of your energy, it's just going to help you to manage your electricity bill. And if you don't, then you're going to pay a higher price during those hours of 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. And I'll give you some tips as to how to manage that. Next slide. Okay, so what you're seeing here is the schedule. As I stated before, in October 2020 is when we kind of kicked off this full transition. And we have been doing transitions each month, but based on the geography that a customer lives in. So the geographical area. I've indicated over to the right-hand side what the county is and the specific transition month. I do want to caveat this though, that there is a difference if you are a solar customer. So if you are a solar customer, your transition will occur based on whatever your true-up month is. Your true-up month is the month that you typically started on solar or the last time you changed your rate plan. So just keep that in mind when figuring out when your transition is going to occur. But for most Pioneer's customers and the area that Pioneer serves, customers will transition in the month of April, which is this coming month, next month. Okay. Next slide. Now, prior to customers transitioning, they receive multiple notifications, because just as I explained early on in the webinar this evening, when it comes to electric rate plans, you do have a choice on what rate plan you have for your home. If you don't make a choice, then you are automatically defaulted or transitioned to this time of use rate plan. Now, prior to this happening next month, you would have received what we refer to as a 90-day notification. And we call it 90-day notification because it goes out approximately 90 days prior to the customer transitioning. And the few things that are really important to highlight here is, one, it tells you the reasons behind why we are doing a time of use transition. One is that we need to ensure that we have a reliable electric grid for the future. And right now, the majority of energy from customers is being used during this peak time, which is when the highest demand is. Now, if customers continue to use energy during that time, we cannot always meet that demand, and we have to use other resources to do so, like fossil fuel type energy. Now, if customers can use energy during the daytime in some cases, where maybe you're shifting some usage, then it helps us to use more renewable resources like solar, wind, water, hydro, all of that, where we're not using fossil fuel type energy. So it's better for the environment. It's also better to ensure we have a reliable grid that we can meet the demand of energy for each of our customers. And this just helps with our renewable energy goals as well. They're pretty aggressive in California on energy goals. So all of these three things really are in line with the transition happening. So that's what you see here is a little bit of information about why is the time of use transitioning happening. In the middle area of this notification, which has been highlighted for you, blown up a bit over to the right-hand side, is a personalized rate plan comparison. Now, again, this is personalized to you, to each of the customers, based on how you've already been using energy. So when you look at this rate plan comparison, it's highlighting three different rate plans. It's giving you what is your current rate plan, which would be E1. The middle one is the transition rate plan, which is ETOUC, peak pricing 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. every day. And then the one all the way to the right is listed as an optional rate plan, which is TOUD. And that's 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. weekdays. Now there, it does indicate what are the estimated annual costs for each of those rate plans based on how you've already been using your energy over this past year. And so it gives you the education to understand what is the best fit for you in terms of like what rate plan should you have for your household. And then below that, you are going to see what is referred to as a business reply card. It's perforated. So it's been blown up for you so you can see it a little bit easier. But what you do is you tear off the bottom portion of this notification and you make your selection. Now this is postage paid. So you simply check the rate plan that you want. You either want to stay on your current rate plan, you want to move to time of use C, or you want to move to time of use D. You sign it and you date it and you drop it in the mail. It's as easy as that. So again, you can decline the transition, you can move to time of use C, or you can move to TOUD with this response card. Okay. Next slide. Okay, so I talked a bit about the time of use rate plans, and some customers, a common misconception is that they can't use any energy during peak windows. That's not the case. As I said before, you can use energy any time of day or night that you want to on a time of use rate plan. Nobody's controlling your energy, but you will be charged based on when you use your energy. So to have the lowest cost bill for your energy services, you want to make sure that you are using as much of your power during the off-peak hours as you can. Some of the things you want to do is unplug items if you're not using them, turn them off if you're not using them. I've talked to some families where they have what they refer to as an energy scout. This could be a designated person in your family that makes sure that they turn things off when they see lights are on or TVs are left on and people leave the room. So you can really get the full family involved in helping to manage your energy usage and ultimately your costs. Morning to midday. These are the best times to do your laundry, run your dishwasher. If there is, preheating or pre-cooling your home. If you happen to have a pool, make sure that you're doing it before the 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. window. And then late afternoon to evening, you want to try to avoid doing your chores during that time. Make sure that you are unplugging unnecessary appliances. As I said before, if you can do your laundry at another time other than 4 p.m. to 9 p.m., that's one of the higher energy users. If you can pre-cool your home a bit so that you're not using as much energy to cool your home in the summertime between the 4 p.m. to 9 p.m., that would help as well. And then when you get to the late evening, start that load of laundry or start the dishwasher. There are some appliances that have timers, so you could utilize those as well. And that would help too. Next slide. Okay. Customers do have a choice. I have said this multiple times, but sometimes people don't quite grasp that. So I want to make sure, again, if you leave here with anything today, know that you have a choice when it comes to your electric rate plan. You can choose to stay on your current rate plan, which would be E1 if you're part of the transition. You can change it at any time, or you can take no action at all and you will transition to time of use C. Now, if you do transition, then you have the ability to try out this time of use rate plan risk-free with bill protection. And what that means is that if you end up spending more money on this time of use C rate plan for the first 12 months than you would have on your prior rate plan, which would be tiered E1, then you will have the difference credited back to you automatically. Now, you don't have to stay on the rate plan for 12 months to get bill protection. So if you decide you want to try this rate plan out and you are part of the transition and you stay on it for 6 months and you decide that you don't like it, that's okay. You can change your rate plan at any time. And if at that point you have spent more by being on TOUC than you would have on your prior rate plan, we have you covered. Pioneer is also covering your costs as well. So if you pay more money, you're going to get a credit back to you automatically. You don't have to do anything. This happens automatically on your bill. So it's really great news that you can try this rate plan risk-free without having to worry about suffering with a higher bill. Next slide. Now, I know that there are a lot of solar customers in Pioneer's territory. I am also just around the way. I'm in Yuba City. So I also have solar. So I totally understand it because it gets really hot here, right? And a lot of Pioneer's territories, it's very hot. So solar tends to be a great benefit for customers in our territory. Customers who are on solar, they are also part of the transition if they have a tiered E1 rate plan. So you do need to be on a tiered E1 rate plan in order to be impacted by the transition. The timing is anywhere from April of 2021 to March of 2022 that you would transition, and you would receive a notification 90 days prior to. You would also receive a reminder card or reminder notification in the mail. And if you're signed up for email, you would get one through email as well. And that goes the same for customers who are not solar. And then just as regular customers who are part of the transition get bill protection, so do solar customers. And again, they also have an option to choose the electric rate plan of their choice. So they do not have to transition to time of use C unless they choose to, or they take no action. Next slide. Now, there are some customers who are not included in the time of use transition. The customers who are not included are customers who are already on a time of use rate plan because they're doing what they can to shift energy. They're being incentivized to do that by getting that lower cost during the off-peak time periods. Customers who are on medical baseline, they are not automatically included either. And customers who are on either CARE or FARA and they live in a hot climate, they are not automatically included. So as I said before, Pioneer's territory is primarily considered a hot climate. So most customers who are on the CARE or FARA discount program, they are not included in the transition. And then customers who have less than 12 months of energy usage at their residence, they are not included either, because we need to provide customers an educated choice by giving them a personalized rate plan comparison so that they know what rate plan is best for them. And with less than 12 months of energy usage, it doesn't depict a true look at what could be the best rate plan for each customer if they have less than 12 months. Now, again, we want you to run a personalized rate plan comparison, or at the very least, look at that 90-day notification. If you're not part of the transition, then please go online and check it out. We recommend that you do this a couple times a year at least, because your energy usage may change. Previously, in the past, like 1 to 2 years, we've been dealing with the pandemic, and customers have really changed how they've been using their energy. A lot of customers were staying at home, doing a work from home type setup where they were using a lot more energy during the day than they were previously, and using more energy overall as well. So the way that you're using energy could have changed. And if you've gone back to an office, that again, you could be seeing changes in your energy usage and your bill. So definitely take the guesswork out of it, run that personalized rate plan comparison, and figure out what is the best rate plan for you. And then make your choice or change your rate plan as you see fit. Next slide. Okay, I've taken you through so much information. One, we talked a lot about rate plans, the different types of rate plans. So again, go to pge.com/TOU every day. That's going to give you information about the time of use transition. There's also information at pge.com/rate choices that will tell you about rate plans. There's a ton of available information online for you. Also, the transition is happening. We're coming near the end, and if you are part of the transition, then it will be completed before the end of next month. So be on the lookout for any notifications that could have been sent to you. If you're not sure if you're part of the transition, you can either go online to your registered account and it will tell you when you're scheduled to transition. Right on the right-hand side of the screen on that dashboard that we talked about, immediately above where it says what your current rate plan is. It will tell you when you're scheduled to transition if you are, and it will give you the option to take action right then as well, to either decline it or you can change your rate plan, whichever you choose. And then lastly, we have a lot of available programs, and we have some new ones that have come available as well that I didn't highlight here today, but I would encourage you to go online to pge.com/COVID-19 for some information about other programs that you could get assistance from, or any one of these websites here highlighted on the screen for you. All of these are super beneficial for anyone that's enrolled in them. And if you have questions at all, you can give us a call in the contact center at 1-800-743-5000. And we'd be happy to check your account and see exactly what you're eligible for and talk to you more in detail about each of those programs to see how we can assist. Now, I'm going to put in the chat, or I'm going to try to share a survey link that we want to hear what information is helpful to you, and if you're able to provide feedback on the information that was shared today. So if there's additional suggestions, we want to hear that. And then I can take questions now.
So Jessica, since you can see, I'm assuming you can see the question answers, do you just want to go through them?
Yeah, okay. Let's do that. So let's see. So John had indicated what happens if you are not on a smart meter. I did answer that one, which is you can get one if you choose to. You simply call into the contact center and you ask for one to be provided to you if you don't already have one. Most customers have smart meters, and customers who don't, we have taken steps to try to upgrade their meter to a smart meter already. So it may just be that we haven't had access or for various different reasons. But yeah, we'd be happy to upgrade your meter to a smart meter so that you have options for all of the rate plans available to you. Okay. And then Janet, you said you believe that a 6-month history is looked at, but I want to know what the comparison would be in the summer months. Is there a way to make that comparison? So when we're doing a rate comparison, it actually looks at the last 12 months of energy usage. If you've been there for at least 12 months. Now, if you've only been there for less than that time, it's going to take into consideration the time period that you've been there. So you have to have at least 6 months in order to get a good depiction of what those estimated costs would be. But ideally, we would want you to have a full 12 months. And if you've been there for longer than 12 months, it's going to take the most recent 12 months into consideration when figuring out your best rate plan. So that, yes, as you pointed out, so you could figure out what are those summer costs going to, how are they going to impact your bill with the different rate plans? So great question. Okay. We have, thank you for addressing the master meter. Each residence does have an individual meter. However, they're not smart meters. How can one get a smart meter when on master meter? So you would want to talk to your mobile home location or whoever the account holder is for the master meter. And then they would potentially be able to get you a smart meter. Typically, they would have some of that information, but there are costs associated in some cases with upgrading the meter technology or having the different meters available for sub meters, because we don't actually do the sub metering. that is something that the landlord or the owner of the master metered location does. And let's see. So what if you're not on a smart meter for an individual house and do not want one? How do they know what time we use the energy? So in order to be part of the transition, you do have to have a smart meter. So you wouldn't be included. You may be just remaining on the tiered E1 rate plan. We have to have a meter that is capable of billing the customer accurately. And if we don't have a smart meter, or at least the meter programmed to provide that level of detail, we cannot give you that time of use rate plan. You can have one if you want. You can have a smart meter so that you can figure out, would it be beneficial for you to be on a time of use rate plan or not? And you still have a choice with your rate plan. Just because you have a smart meter doesn't mean you are forced to have a time of use rate. So I just want to make sure that's clear. Okay. And Lawrence, is there an option to compare the last 3 years, not just the last year, for best option? We have a smart meter at single family residence with solar. Solar gets a bit tricky because your production on your panels is going to potentially vary. And that takes into account. It also depends on what kind of solar you have. If you have solar from a long time ago, or more than at least, I think probably about 4 years plus is probably about the cutoff, if I remember correctly, then you're considered standard net energy metering, which means that you have the choice of whatever rate plan options are available to you. Now, if you have a more recent installation of solar, then you are considered NEM 2.0, Net Energy Metering 2.0, which means that you have to have a time of use rate. And then what's coming down the pipeline is another form of net energy metering, which is called net billing. And that is still in the regulatory process right now. So it has not passed yet, but that will change the way customers are paid out on solar, and what your options are for rate plans as well, which will be time of use. Now, if you're looking at your energy usage online, the rate comparison is not going to provide you analysis based on a 3-year period. But there is an option for you to analyze your usage and see it. I mean, it'd be a lot of work to really look at it this way, but you can download all of your usage as long as you've had a smart meter for that period of time. So for as long as you've had your service at the location there. And then you can analyze that usage accordingly to help you determine what that looks like. But honestly, the best comparison is looking at the last 12 months, unless you've had some major changes within those last 12 months that would impact the way you use your energy or how much you use. So I hope that that answers the question. Let me know if there's more that you want to know about that. And Phil, so what if I'm on a tiered rate plan E1 and that shows as the cheapest in the comparison? Do we have to change to time of use, and when? So the answer is no. You do not have to change unless you want to. But if you don't take action, you will be transitioned. And so that's what we're trying to make sure that you're aware of today, is choose the rate plan that's best for you. So if it shows right now that tiered rate plan E1 is best for you, if it's the lowest cost, then you can simply decline the transition. You can do it online. There is a box that is on the dashboard that you can click on, or a hyperlink that you can click on to get more information. Or when you click on the manage your rate plan, it also takes you there as well. That tells you you can decline the transition. So you can do it multiple different ways. Do it through the business response card. You can go online and do it. You can call the contact center and do it through the automated system at the contact center. So just take action though. If you don't, you will be transitioned.
So Jessica, before we start with the next questions in the question and answer, can we take care of Joey and Pam? They both have had their hands up for a little while, and I'd like to see if we could give them a chance to ask their question. Would you mind?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Go ahead. I don't see them here. So yes, please.
That's okay. So Joey, you have been unmuted. If you will unmute yourself and ask your question to Jessica, that would be great. Joey Ames?
If you're talking, we can't hear you. It's still showing that you're muted.
Yeah.
I did not ask a question.
There you are.
Okay. We have a hand up, so we just wanted to make sure. Did you have a question? Okay.
No.
Very
I really
good.
don't. Thank you.
You're fine. Thank you. Okay. So the next one is Pam B. Pam, we've unmuted you. If you'd like to unmute yourself and ask your question, that would be great. Pam, we had you for a second there, and then we lost you again. Oh, there we go. How's that? My apologies, Pam. Unmute yourself, please. Oh, there you go.
Oh, hi. My true up was, last month, and my bill is totally different from the previous year because each month I got like an approximate $5 charge to be hooked up to the grid. Now, this month and last month's bill, I didn't owe anything for electricity, but now I'm just being charged for my gas. So all I'm seeing for the last 2 months is gas charges and nothing about my electricity charge. So my bill has definitely changed. Can you explain that to me? And then I am on a medical baseline.
Fantastic. I'm glad to hear that you're taking advantage of that program. Now, if you look at your bill, does it actually show electric account details and that there is a service period that's being billed or charged for?
Nope, it's only showing my gas monthly billing history, by day, how much I use each day.
Mhm.
It shows current gas charges. It shows nothing for electricity, where last year I was getting charged about $5, a month to be hooked to the grid. Now I underused electricity. So I'm way under only because I'm finally getting this swimming pool fixed in June. So looking at the previous bills, I had a minus negative for my electricity. So I'd like to know, where is all that under usage that I sent power, back to the grid? Where did it go?
It sounds almost like your electricity charges you have like a delayed bill. So that would mean that for some reason your electric charges have not been billed and they may be delayed, but I don't know without looking at your specific account, I wouldn't be able to determine that just over the phone, but what you've said kind of leans in that direction. And if you want to, my information is right there on the screen.
Yes, I wrote that down so I can call you tomorrow with my account number and everything. But usually I'm pretty, close to what I use, every year. Well, I've only had it for 2 years, so I'm pretty close. But with the pool being out of commission, there was quite a bit, more that I was seeing every month until last month. And I just printed out my bill while you were talking, and yeah, it's still only showing the gas.
Okay, so that's what it seems to be. We do also have a solar customer service center, and they will have a good picture of how much energy you're using and how much you are exporting back to the grid. So they'll be able to see more information about that. I can give you their contact number as well in the event there is another time you want to reach out to them. But again, you can either email me or call me.
I have called them in the past and it was
Okay.
very confusing. So if you don't mind, I'd like to call you, you
Sure.
know, tomorrow during the day, and you can look this up and answer it more privately.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So that's my contact information. So yes, please feel free to reach out and we can look at it a little closer for you.
Okay, that'd be great, Jessica.
Thank you, Pam.
All right,
Okay, Jessica. Back to, I think we have Noreen.
Yeah, so Noreen is indicating I may be able to shift when I do my laundry, but 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. is the hottest time of the day in the summer. How do I shift using our AC to cool the house? That's really difficult for areas where the climate's a lot hotter, like where we live. And the most that you can really do is pre-cool your home. And in some cases, because you can only pre-cool your home so much, a time of use rate plan may not be best for you. And so you may want to decline the transition unless you feel like after running that rate plan comparison, if it looks like you're close, that you can potentially save, or the costs are pretty similar from a tier rate plan to the time of use rate plan, then you may want to decline it, because there isn't a lot that you can do, unfortunately, outside of pre-cooling your home, which means you like turn on the AC at 2 o'clock instead of putting it on at 4 o'clock, and you get the temperature down so that you're able to cycle it off a bit during the 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. time period. So yeah, a common thing that a lot of us in the hotter climate have to manage. So what if I'm scheduled for April, but have not received the notification? So Sandra, that may be because either one, we don't have a correct mailing address for you. The 90-day notification only gets mailed out to the mailing address. The 30-day reminder is emailed as well as mailed if we have an email for you. Now, if you haven't received any of those notifications, then you may just not be part of the transition. You can figure out if you're part of it by going online to your account at pge.com. And you would see there on the front page, once you register into your account or sign in as a visitor, if you're part of the transition, and then you can take action that way. Or if it's too much for you, confusing, you don't have access to a computer to do that as well, then give us a call at 1-800-743-5000, the number on your utility bill, and we can help you. What happens if you didn't receive the 90-day notice is Janine is asking. Same thing, you just may not be part of the transition. But again, you can figure out if you're part of it by going online or giving us a call in the contact center, and we can help you with that. Somebody said that my voice had cut out, unfortunately, when I was saying which appliances were one of the highest energy users. The highest energy users are the air conditioner. If you are running a dishwasher, that's a high energy user, washer and dryer. Anything that is electric operated for heating is a high energy user. Pool pumps, if you're charging your car, and electric vehicle charging is a high energy user. Those are all of the things that use a lot of energy. Outside of that, there are not, the energy use is not that substantial. So just think about it. If it's something that has a heating element that's electric operated, that's going to be a high energy user. So if you have an electric oven, that would also be a high energy user. But how much are you, how often are you using it and for how long? as well. So those are all factors as well. Okay. Somebody said here that I was told by PG&E, a PG&E rep, if I have solar, I cannot keep my tiered service and have to pick a TOU. That is correct. If you are just getting solar, then you are considered NEM 2.0, Net Energy Metering 2.0, and you are required to have a time of use rate. So one, you would not be included in the transition because you're already required to have a time of use rate by being a new solar customer. If you have had solar for a long time, you're part of the standard net energy metering customer population, and you have what is referred to kind of as a legacy period, meaning you get to choose and keep your tiered E1 rate plan if you choose to. So hopefully that helps to answer that question. But the requirements for solar, for any new solar customers, that you do have to have a form of time of use as your rate plan. Now, David says that we're solar customers with backup batteries. We used to get a combined bill for Pioneer and PG&E. Now we get a separate bill for Pioneer plus monthly minimum PG&E charge and a separate PG&E bill. The PG&E bill has more detail than I need or understand what happened to the combined Pioneer and PG&E bill. It sounds like you may be on a different, one of our different billing systems. It's not common, but David, I'd have to take a look at your account to see why that's happening. My information is there, so if you want to either email me your account information, I can take a look at it and let you know and see if we can't correct that. Or you can give me a call and we can discuss it when I can look at your account and we're not on a live broadcast. That, or you can give us a call on our solar number as well, which is 1-877-743-4112. Okay. And let's see, it looks like we have Jay Clinton indicated, I missed the beginning of the call, so apologizing if this was already addressed, but how does this shift affect Pioneer rates? I'm confused as to why we are paying different rates for PG&E delivery only. Yeah, this gets really complicated, to be honest. Pioneer is not automatically transitioning the generation portion of the bill when customers are transitioning to time of use C, simply because they really want to make sure that customers are not forced into a rate plan that they didn't actively choose. And we understand that. PG&E doesn't have a choice. We are required by the California Public Utility Commission to transition. So if you are a transition customer, one of our time of use transition customers, the delivery and transmission rate charges that are PG&E charges, those are going to be transitioned to TOUC. Now, the actual generation portion, which is the energy itself, that's the usage you get from Pioneer, you would remain on your current rate plan unless you actively choose to transition. And in that case, if you actively choose to transition, then Pioneer is giving you bill protection. So just the same as PG&E. So you get to try it risk-free for the first year. That's kind of it's a bit of a hybrid rate. And Pioneer would have to assist with questions regarding that part of the generation rate plan, whereas PG&E can help you with the transmission and distribution portion of the rates and charges. Did you want to add anything to that, Alexia? I think I see somebody typing.
Yeah, that was me going to type. Basically, if you have questions about the Pioneer portion of the bill, and for the other gentleman who was talking about having the detail of bill, we're happy to help go through these things. So just give Pioneer's customer service a call. We have the 916-758-8969 number, and you can just call us directly and we'll help you out. So not a problem. And I'll type that in here so folks can see it. Thank you, Jessica.
Yeah, no problem. I saw the next question and I'm pulling up the current rate plans right now. So the next question was, let's see, plan pricing. Okay. Okay, it says the time of use peak rates are higher than the E1 tier 1 rate. Isn't this just a stealth rate increase? I can totally appreciate that. Now, yes, peak pricing is higher than E1, but off-peak pricing is not. Off-peak pricing is lower than E1. So that's why a time of use rate plan gives more control actually back to the customer. Because if you can shift your energy usage to the off-peak hours, then you are able to manage your bill a bit more. But just as one of the other attendees had noted, like, what do I do when I need to use my air conditioner between 4 p.m. to 9 p.m.? If you can't shift your energy usage, then the tiered rate plan may just not, or excuse me, the time of use rate plans may just not be right for you. And based on the location that you live and how you need to use your energy. And that's okay. That's your choice. And you're able to choose to stay on a tiered rate plan if that's what's best for you and your household. Specifically, in looking at the March 1st, 2022 rate plans, if you go to pge.com/rate plans, there is over to the left-hand side of that web page, a PDF that gives you residential rate plan pricing and kind of gives you a look at each of the different rate plans. And what you'll see here is that for the tier, so like if it depends on how much you use on a tiered rate plan, your pricing on a tiered rate plan is anywhere from 31 cents to 49 cents a kilowatt hour. Now, if you, and this is pricing specifically for PG&E. It does not, I'm not speaking to Pioneer's pricing. If you are on time of use C, for example, your actual rate plan pricing is going to vary anywhere from 28 cents to 49 cents. So you're in the same ballpark, just depending on how much energy you use. And if you're able to shift, then you can save some money. So hopefully that kind of cleared a little bit of that up for you. But I would definitely encourage you to take a look at that PDF at pge.com/rate plans. That will help you to see the different structures.
So Jessica, we have another hand up. If you wouldn't mind, we're going to allow, this is, I guess is it Jean or Jeannie? And we're going to unmute you now and allow you to talk. So Miss, and I've got it as Battersby. Perfect. Go ahead, please.
It's actually Bob. Bob's got the question.
Okay, Bob.
On your time of use, the two programs you have, the C and the D, is the peak rate the same on both of them? And then the non-peak rate the same on both of them?
No, they are not. They are a little bit different. There is it's hard to explain, but TOUC provides a baseline credit. So what that means is that for the first amount of usage that is given to a customer at the lowest rate, there is a credit that is given for each one of those kilowatts. And so that can lower your cost. So that's it. That's why the amount of energy per kilowatt, the cost is as low as 28 cents because there is this credit piece applied to it. the lowest cost on TOUD, which is the 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. on the weekdays, that lowest price is 34 cents. So there is a little bit of a difference. These rate plans were designed to be pretty conservative in the differentials, meaning that there wasn't supposed to be this large difference between the peak period to the off-peak period. And that was designed purposefully that way because time of use is a new concept to a lot of customers. And by having a mild differential there, it gives the customer an opportunity to get acclimated or to understand how time of use works before they are hit with a really low price in the off-peak periods and a really high price in the peak periods. Because that could negatively affect a customer if they're not understanding how time of use works. So for this reason, these rate plans were designed to start out with very mild differences between peak and off-peak, while still giving kind of an incentive. Does that answer your question, Bob?
Well, sort of. It looks like you made it about as hard as it could be because one plan is every day and one plan is weekdays. And now if the rates are different, that throws something else into it. So it's really hard to tell what's going on.
That's why we suggest doing a rate plan comparison. You don't need to be a rate expert to figure out what's the best one for you. Let the tool do its job and give you the educated information on what those estimated annual costs are. Now, to very basic though, the lowest cost on time of use C is 28 cents. The lowest cost on TOUD is 34 cents. And the highest price on TOUC is 49 cents, and the highest price on TOUD is 47 cents. So they're very similar, but I would just have the rate plan comparison tool do the work for you so that you can easily figure it out what's the best for you based on how you've been using energy.
Yeah, I asked the question because I do have your evaluation, your comparison. I don't know if this is the one. And it doesn't make sense. But now that you say that they're different peaks and different regular rates, then maybe it does.
So you went online and clicked manage your rate plan and you see the estimated annual costs there?
Yes, I didn't go online. PG&E sent this to me. It has the rate plan, transition rate plan, and optional rate plan, and it has a value for each one of them. And the optional rate plan is actually the highest. There's no real incentive to go there. The C plan is the same as my current rate, so there's no incentive to go there either.
Well, there is actually.
You explained the difference between the peaks and stuff, so that explains some of the difference, because if they're the same, then the whole thing doesn't make much sense. But if they're different, then I guess that's where the difference comes in.
Yeah, so if your E1 tiered rate plan is showing the same estimated annual cost as TOUC, then it may benefit you to actually go to TOUC. And the reason why I say that is because if you can shift just some of your usage outside of that 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. window from what you're using and how you've been using energy, you can probably save some money. But if you don't want to change the way you're doing things and you want to keep it the same, that's okay too. You can decline the transition and stay on tiered E1.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So Lori asks, are the prices for use outside of the 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. timeframe all the same, or do they vary depending on time of day? No, they are all the same, but what does vary, Lori, is the season. So your pricing for the summer season is different than your pricing for the winter season, but still the 19 hours of each day outside of 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. is the lowest price. So it's, and it is all one price, not based on how much energy you're using. And then John says, I have a smart rate plan that is used during summer days of heavy use. Yes, that is an optional add-on to your rate plan. You don't have to have smart rate, but you are given a credit for your energy use that is outside of the smart day events. And you are charged a premium, like a surcharge, during the time that a smart day event is being called. And so it's again, this is just adding on to your electric rate plans, and that's okay. And sometimes when running the rate plan comparison, it will tell you, again, based on how you've been using energy, if a smart rate plan is a good idea for you. And if it is, then you can sign up for it. And Judy says, is the Pioneer Community Energy electric generation charges affected? And what is this? Also, why are the fees different each month? I'm not sure I'm following the question completely, Judy. Alexia, did you want to provide any information on the Pioneer charges?
Okay, so is the Pioneer what is this? Why are the fees so different each month? We've got, it depends on which fees you're talking about. The Pioneer rate, if you're looking at the charges, your charges will be the E1 unless you've chosen a different time of use. And if you have, then we will mirror PG&E structure and you'll just have our rate on that component. There are fees. If you're talking about the power charge indifference adjustment, the PCIA, that's actually its own rate and it's charged based on your usage. So if you use 400 kilowatt hours 1 month, it'll have a charge and that'll be the price. And then if you use 500, it will change. So it fluctuates based on your usage. I hope that's answering your question. If it has not, please give me a call and we'll go over in detail everything that you need and answer that one up. And I'll give you the number in the chat so you have that. So hopefully that helps out, Jess.
Yeah, I think that probably does answer Judy's question. Thinking a bit more about it, I would just say that your electricity charges are based on how much energy you use. And sometimes depending on if you're on a time of use rate, you are getting charged based on not just how much, but what time of day you're using the energy. That's the factor when determining your bill. So you can't continue to use the exact same amount of energy if you're living in a home day in and day out. So your costs are going to vary month over month a bit. I mean, they could be similarly in line from 1 month to the next, but there is going to be some variation there because your usage is going to vary slightly, at least.
Okay, so we have another hand up.
Yeah, go ahead.
So that would be for PL. I'm going to give you a chance to talk. So if you could unmute yourself. PL, are you still with us? Oops, I put allow to talk and are you there? There you are.
I'm here. Oh, thank you. Just wanted to clarify for myself. Thank you for the information, first of all. I know you mentioned this is mandated by PUC, but seems like it was lobbied by the electric companies, and it's kind of discouraging solar use, because if the new solars cannot use the regular tiered version, it's kind of penalizing them. Is that right? Because they have to go either 5 to 8 or 4 to 9. And then you also mentioned there's another regulation in the works, which is going to cut down on the reimbursement to the solar users, which is again being lobbied by the electric companies. So is that the trend to discourage solar use by private residents?
No, I would say it's definitely not the plan to discourage that because California has really aggressive energy renewable goals. So that ultimately we want to use as much renewable resources as we possibly can. because it's better for the environment. It also allows us to ensure that we have a reliable electric grid for the future to meet customer demand. You had indicated that the electric utilities are pushing for this. I would not say that is necessarily the case. There are a lot of interveners who help to support disadvantaged communities. And there are a lot of electricity social justice conversations happening, meaning that we need to do everything we can to make sure that customers who are limited with income, that they have the ability to have solar too, or that they can get the necessities of electricity that they need, and that it's affordable for them as well. So that the net billing, that part is still in the regulatory proceedings, and it's open for, I believe it's still open for public comment. The commission has not made a decision on it, but time of use doesn't discourage solar customers. The fact that solar customers are forced to sign up for a time of use rate helps to incentivize them as well to use energy during off-peak periods when their solar panels are actually producing the energy for the grid. We have a lot of customers that are producing energy, and energy is not easily stored. And for that reason, we need customers to use the energy as it's available, including solar customers. They're not exempt in that. Me as well as a solar customer. So hopefully that kind of gives a little bit more context to this, but I would definitely not say it's a discouraging, but if you choose to have solar, then you should also be doing your part to reduce your energy when your solar is not producing.
So Jessica, I will move on back to the open questions.
Okay. MD has indicated how much of these changes off of, I think it's supposed to be like maybe offset off of fossil fuels is driven by California legislation, voter initiatives, propositions, energy companies, California PUC or other. This is part, I don't have a percentage for you to share, but all of that is taken into consideration when the commission makes a decision that instructs the investor-owned utilities to move forward with a transition like this. Specifically so that, moving customers to time of use incentivizes them to use energy in the off-peak periods when we have a lot of renewable resources on hand. That helps with the energy goals that we have across the state. And it also ensures that we don't have to deal with rolling blackouts or, you may recall a few years back, we dealt with potential rolling blackouts. And that was because Cal ISO was not able to give us enough energy to meet the demand. So we were forced to implement that. And that was the state of California emergency. That was not just a PG&E situation. So we all have to do our part across this whole state. And then there's a question here. Is the program the same for small business as for residential customers? My greatest usage is security lighting during peak hours. As a small business customer, you would have different rate plans. You can still go online and run a rate comparison as a small business customer though, and see what is the best rate plan for you. You are not included in the time of use transition as a small business customer for that account. If you have a residential service, then account with a residential rate plan, then you would potentially be included. So you'd need to go online and run that personalized rate plan comparison to see. Okay, and then Janet says, is the tier 1 rate the same as the lowest TOU rate? Right now, the tier 1 rate plan, I believe, is 31 cents a kilowatt. And we're in the winter period right now still until May 31st. So TOUC, the lowest cost is 28 cents. So it's slightly lower than the tiered E1 rate plan. And Janet, you can take a look at, I'll put in this website, which is going to give you the PDF view for you so that you can see what are those rate plans. So what are the customer's cost advantages, disadvantages of going back to a quote unquote dumb meter? What rates would a dumb meter be on? There isn't really a dumb meter. There is a smart meter, which provides ability to read the meter remotely. It also captures the information of what time of day you're using your energy by each increment. So it's an interval read. What you're referring to as a quote unquote dumb meter is just like a standard meter, and someone's going to the residence to read the meter. So you're getting the read, or we're getting the read rather, remotely, either through a signal or someone's going to the property to read the meter. And you are limited with what rate plans you can have on a meter that is not read remotely or is not programmed to capture that information. So you'd have to give us a call in our contact center. We can assist you with either upgrading your meter if you want, or you can look online and see what rate options are available for you based on the meter type that you have. And then John has indicated, I have a smart rate plan that is used during summer days of heavy use. Does this still apply? It depends. If you're on time of use C and you want to stay on smart rate, you can. That's totally fine. You don't have to. You can get off that program at any time, and you can enroll in it at any time. And then we have a question, do I have to transition if on care? You, number one, don't have to transition at all if you don't want to. You have a choice. You just have to take action if you don't want to. So you would decline it or change to a different rate plan, either one. And then the secondary, if you are on care and you are in what's considered a hot climate, then you are not automatically transitioned. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't still enroll if you want to. You could enroll in the time of use C rate plan, but you may just not be part of the automatic transition. So the answer is it depends on where you live, if you are in a hot climate or not. And you can go online, or you can give us a call and we'll help you to determine that. Now, Debbie has indicated, can you tell others, being an HVAC retired company, starting your AC early in the AM, use attic fans to exhaust the heat. They can basically keep the home cool until 4 p.m. where most of the heat has been accumulated. So thank you, Debbie, for pointing that out. Pre-cooling can definitely help. And, but again, it depends on how energy efficient your home is as well, whether you have good insulation, whether your AC works well. Those are all factors. So if it doesn't work for you to be on a time of use rate plan, then you need to take action and decline it. Or if you think you can make it work, I'm on a time of use rate plan and I make it work, and I'm in a hot climate. But it's a personal choice, and it's something you can choose for you and your family. Robert, I am on E6 plan. Will I be able to stay on it? You are one of the few customers, Robert, that is still on this rate plan. And you fortunately have a legacy period, which means you are able to stay on it for a period of time. That time is ending though. I don't recall off the top of my head when it is ending. I think it's actually this year. But I can look for some of that information. If you want to send me your information, I can tell you exactly when that is. Prior to it ending, you will receive a notification in the mail that is going to alert you to what your rate plan options are. But enjoy it while you have it. It's a great rate plan. Are water beds high energy users? Is it a heated water bed? If so, then the answer is yes. If it is not a heated water bed, it's just you're not using a heat function on it, then no, if there's no production, no electricity being utilized for it, then no, it's not going to be using a lot of energy. It's the heating component that would be expensive.
Okay, Jessica, Joe's raised his hand, if you wouldn't mind. Okay. Go ahead, Joe. Joe, I'm hoping, it looks like you're unmuted, and I've got you unmuted. Can you, oh, hang on. No, I gotta ask to unmute. All right. Joe, there you go. How we got you?
If you're talking, Joe, we can't hear you, but it does look like you're unmuted.
Oh. Okay, Joe, let's see what we can do about getting your question into the chat, or we'll, keep your hand up until you can, maybe you can give me a signal or something that you've been able to get your mute taken care of. So, Jessica, if you want to go to the other ones, I'll work with Joe and see what I can do about getting him on. Okay.
Lawrence indicates we're currently on E6 rate plan with solar. So you're really lucky, Lawrence. You've had solar probably for a very long time, and E6, which is great. Current bill shows additional charges above the PG&E rates by Pioneer based on kilowatts used. Why is Pioneer charging more than PG&E? The way that the bill is calculated is you are paying the cost for energy, the generation portion of the bill is being provided to you by Pioneer. So they're charging you for the actual kilowatts themselves that you're using. PG&E is charging you for transmission and distribution, which means that we are the ones delivering the energy to you, and we're doing the maintenance on the lines and handling service for you. So that's why there's different components to the bill and what those different components represent. I'm not sure if there's more to the question though that I'm not answering here. So if there is, please let me know.
Okay, and Joe, you want to try again? Can we hear you? I'm sorry, Joe, we're just not hearing your sound. So if you could type it into the Q&A, we can get you answered.
Okay, and Lawrence, just putting in a appreciation comment there. Thank you. Let's see. Someone's indicated you don't qualify for Smart Rate if you go to TOU 5 to 8. And what's going to happen is if when you go online and run a personalized rate plan comparison, it's going to give you any eligible programs that you may be able to sign up for. So you would select your rate, and then it's going to take you to what we would refer to as like an additional rate rider. It's something that sits on top of the rate and is applicable to the rate, but it's not an actual rate plan. So if time of use 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. weekdays, if that's the one you select and Smart Rate is not eligible for that rate plan, it's just not going to offer it to you. So you can't sign up for something you don't know. Okay. And Judy just said yes and thank you. Okay. And Somebody said no smart AC on 5 to 8 with solar per PG&E. Smart AC is different than smart rate. Smart AC is a thermostat that is controlled when it's during the hot times of the day. So it cycles your AC off and it helps you to reduce your amount of usage. It lets the fan run, but it turns off the cooling component to reduce the amount of usage that you're using at your residence. So that's different than smart rate, which provides you a credit during the off usage outside of a smart rate day. So these are two different programs we're talking about here.
Okay, Jessica, Joe's is Pioneer not going to TOU, and I'm wondering if Joe, if you're asking why Pioneer decided not to do that, and we will let you know that the Pioneer board looked at the time of use program and what was going on. They also looked at our climate and how it was affected, and then PG&E provided some analysis and kind of showed us what the impacts would be, and the Pioneer board, looking at all of it, chose not to participate. That was something that the Public Utilities Commission acknowledged that each of the individual community choice aggregators like Pioneer could do, and so they decided that they weren't going to force anyone onto a rate. We had already heard from so many when we did the initial enrollment that they didn't like automatic enrollment, and we honored that. So that doesn't mean that PG&E had the same flexibility. So yes, PG&E has to, I'll let Jessica do that one, but as you remember hearing early on, she mentioned that they don't have a choice. They're under direction from the Public Utilities Commission. So Jess, I'm going to hand that one back over to you as we've completed our part on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. So Joe, PG&E does have to transition customers if they don't take action that are considered eligible for the transition. And what that means is that the pricing structure would be peak pricing 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. every day for the transmission and distribution time of for that piece of the energy usage that is being utilized by the customer. So yes, all of that is charged based on how much you're using and when you're using your energy. And it's just broken down by part of that cost is transmission, part of it is distribution. And then the other piece being generation. And generation is the part that is being provided to you by Pioneer. So if you say you don't take action, then you would receive part of your rate plan would be based on the time of day that you're using your energy and how much. And then the actual generation part of it, Pioneer would be charging you same way you're getting charged right now for tiered E1, which is the more you use, the more you pay. It's pretty complicated, but it is a way to ensure that customers, that Pioneer is not transitioning customers without them actively choosing to move to a time of use rate plan. I think we'll keep, and we have this last question here from MD. MD is asking, how is the California electric grid not going to collapse in the near future by one, making all new homes electric only, forcing electric vehicles only, eliminating petro, hydro, and nuclear power generation. The grid fails on certain days currently. How can green energy meet our future demands? It's a really great question. The idea is move customers to time of use rate plans where they are incentivized to use more of their energy during the times when renewable resources are most plentiful, when we don't have to find other sources to meet those energy demands, and we can manage with stored power. So there is a lot of thoughts behind doing electrification, moving customers to electric only, and with customers producing their own power, that definitely helps tremendously. But there's there's more that remains to be seen there. So we have to follow suit with what the commission is advising, and the transition is part of that. And it's to help with the reliability on the grid, because it incentivizes customers financially to move their usage to the times where renewable resources are available.
Well, Jessica, it looks like you got to the end of all of the questions. Thank you so much for that. And thank you to everyone who's attended. We really appreciate you being part of this. Pioneer will be working on getting this recording up onto the website, and you'll have access to it. And of course, Jessica's got her slide deck, which, Jessica, thank you for giving us permission to make that public as well. We'll do that and share it out. And if you have more questions, there's Jessica's information there. You can also contact Pioneer. We do work with Jessica and with the PG&E team on this. So thank you very much. Any closing comments, Jessica?
No, I just want to say thank you again for your time. I appreciate all of the engagement. That's amazing that you're all interested in understanding how to manage your electricity costs more. I'm always looking at my energy usage, literally daily. I'm not in tune to it. So I get it. We're trying to do everything we can to manage those costs. I'm like you as well in that sense. But again, just check the personalized rate plan comparison tool to ensure that you are, one, on your best rate plan, and two, if you don't want to transition, that you take action by either declining the transition or choosing a different rate plan that you may see that is possibly better for you. So thank you again for the time.
Thanks, Jessica. All right, guys, with that, we will close out the seminar, and thank you so much, everybody.